welcome to No Apologies on Beck. With me is once again Daryl Leese. I am your host, Lori Hinz. Rick Becker off for the night. That's why it's not with Becker, because he's technically not here. So I am very pleased to be here once again at the Bourbon Bureau. And Daryl, we've got such a great slate of stuff for people tonight.
Tonight is going to be a night for patriots to pay attention.
I think that's all true. Now, we're going to start off with a story that Daryl gave to me yesterday, and he was hot. I mean, it chaps his hide on this one. And so the basis of the story is an article that Daryl found in foreignpolicy.com, and it's about a memo, and it's about flags. So let's show a graphic right now and do the setup so that you know what the story is. So this is the first part of this article from Foreign Policy. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has authorized U.S. embassies around the world to fly Black Lives Matter, or BLM, flags and banners, according to an internal cable reviewed by Foreign Policy as part of the administration's response to the one-year anniversary, which was yesterday, by the way, of the police murder of George Floyd that sparked international outrage and a nationwide reckoning on systemic racism. No, that's not biased at all.
Yeah, I think blood pressure just went up across the countryside out here.
I thought the same thing. I read that and I'm like, really? Okay, so let's go on to the next slide here. The U.S. State Department cable gives chiefs of missions who head U.S. embassies and consulates worldwide blanket written authorization to display BLM flags and banners as appropriate in light of local conditions. It stresses the directive is an authorization, not a requirement. So that's kind of good news. At least they're not required, Daryl.
Oh, it gets worse as you go here.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Then I went and I found the Human Events original article. Now, this is the one that broke the story on Human Events. And if you look in the corner, it says by Jack Posobiec. And I really like Poso. He's great. I've read a lot of his stuff. So he's an extremely good investigative journalist and a great source.
There's one of them left?
Yeah, I know, right?
Wow.
And journalist. So the memo reads in part, the department supports the use of the term Black Lives Matter in messaging content, speeches, and other diplomatic engagements with foreign audiences to advance racial equity and access to justice on May 25th and beyond. We encourage posts to focus on the need to eliminate systemic racism and its continued impact. This sounds totally like the Biden executive orders.
So we're not forcing them to, but now all of a sudden we're encouraging them.
Exactly. That's it, precisely right. So this next slide talks a little bit about the memo. The memo, which is in part, now this is Jack Posobiec saying this, which is in part a woke statement on social justice, part an apology for U.S. actions, and part an endorsement of all BLM materials, expressly encourages the display of the BLM flag or banner at U.S. facilities, except on the actual flagpole that holds the American flag. I'm sorry, it's still hideous. So I have one more. All right. This is the last slide here. So this one says, and this is good too, BLM has come under scrutiny recently for different reasons, including when armed BLM protesters swarmed a restaurant in Louisville on the anniversary of Breonna Taylor's death, and when BLM supporters rallied behind a carjacker killed in a police-involved shooting in Minnesota, but left after learning he was white. Now, this comes from Yahoo News, and I wanted at least one counter slide so that you would see
Right.
that there is another side to the story.
It's amazing. I mean, yeah.
All right. So this is the story. Antony Blinken orders BLM flags can be flown at U.S. embassies worldwide. Right. You did a little research and found out that some did.
Yeah. So Fox News said that several embassies, including Greece, Spain, Cambodia, and Bosnia, were seen flying BLM flags yesterday on Tuesday.
Because
so it happened.
So it actually happened.
It happened.
And
so it wasn't just a, they're not forcing them to.
Mm-hmm.
But if the Secretary of State says we encourage you
Right,
to,
right.
does there need to be force?
What I think is interesting is that, honestly, BLM is not what people realize
No.
BLM is. BLM is a Marxist organization. It is no joke. And I went looking on their site because I thought, oh, it's going to be interesting to see what their About section actually says about them on that site. So I'm going to read for you what that says. Hashtag Black Lives Matter was founded in 2013 in response to the acquittal of Trayvon Martin's murderer. Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation, Inc. is a global organization in the US, the UK, and Canada whose mission is to eradicate white supremacy and build local power to intervene in violence inflicted on Black communities by the state and vigilantes. By combating and countering acts of violence, is what they say on their About section, creating space for Black immigration and innovation, and centering Black joy, we are winning immediate improvements in our lives, says the Black Lives Matter website.
So here's where it gets problematic, Lori.
Okay.
And so I'm going to go on a little rant here.
Okay. All right.
There is no good reason under the sun that any federal property, federal building, any American occupied area should be flying anything other than the American flag. This flag we're going to put up on the screen right now, that is the flag that flies representing our nation, the properties our nation owns, the buildings we utilize for our agencies, and the military bases that house those that defend that freedom that flag stands for each and every day.
100%.
No other flag, with one exception. One exception. This flag, the POW MIA flag.
Agreed.
Because those folks gave the ultimate, and those families never have gotten the full grieving process and the resolve of bringing their loved one back home.
Exactly.
That flag enhances the American flag. Any other flag diminishes. Our American flag, the Pledge of Allegiance, it says it all.
Sacrosanct.
Freedom and liberty for all.
Yep. No, I agree. Absolutely agree with you. I'm one of those people too who gets a little uncomfortable when I see the folding chairs made out of flags and you have your butt on the flag. I just can't do it. I just cannot sit on a flag chair even, because I know how sacred that flag is. I know how important it is to people, and I absolutely agree with you 100%.
And we haven't seen, and so we've got, a representative of RNC coming on tonight. Mm-hmm. I have not seen any statement from the RNC about this. I've not seen any statement from any leadership within the Republican Party here in North Dakota.
That is interesting. Maybe we'll have to...
I have not seen a statement from any of the Senate Republicans or House Republicans in Congress. Now, I know they're aware of it because I happened to make a phone call today.
Right, he's already on it.
And so I contacted Senator Kramer's office, and yeah, they're fully expecting some statement from the full Senate Republican,
I would expect so too.
But we need people to call.
Yeah.
This is one of them issues that we can't stand back on.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
There is no other flag that represents our nation, because the BLM flag represents divisiveness and separation, not united, as our flag stands for.
I 100% agree with you. I feel very, 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 I think it is an extremely special thing that we are losing sight of, not only with half staff all the time, rather than, leaving it half staff for extremely important situations. I don't know. I totally agree with you. I have no disagreement whatsoever on the flag. I'm a big fan of the flag myself. All right, when we come back, we will introduce you to Tommy Hicks from the RNC. Stay with us.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance. putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
Your Bismarck Bucks are hitting the road this week, Saturday, May 29th, for a 7:05 p.m. kickoff in Des Moines, Iowa, as we take on the Iowa Barnstormers for the IFL Game of the Week. Catch the game locally on Beck Sports and on our national television partner, Stadium, as the Bismarck Bucks look to improve to 4-1 on the season. Hey, go Bucks!
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck. My name is Lori Hins. With me, Daryl Leese here. Thank you so much for helping me out today.
My pleasure.
We are very, very honored and pleased to introduce to you somebody via Zoom that I know from the RNC, and I think you should know him too. Tommy Hicks is with us via Zoom today. Tommy, thank you so much for joining us. Good to have you with us.
Great to be on. Thanks for having me.
You betcha. Now I just sound
Straight
like a
from the
North
swamp.
Dakotan. Yeah, I kind of sounded like I kind of sounded like a North Dakotan when I said you betcha there. That was not good.
You betcha. Yeah, sure, you betcha.
Yeah, right. Ooh, I don't usually say that. All right, so I would like to explain to people, first of all, what the co-chair is and what the co-chair does. People may be familiar with Ronna McDaniel, the chairman of the RNC, and you are like lieutenant governor?
Well, Ronna is a rock star. She's doing an incredible job of leading this party and getting us ready for a massive win in 2022 in the midterms. The wind is going to be at our back. It already is. I mean, the Democrats are so far radical left. We've never seen anything like this before. People are starting to notice. They're starting to get involved. But as the co-chair of the party, I get to be a utility player, and I get to travel around the country, meet the American people, have conversations with them, try to work with the grassroots, get people out there, get people involved, get off the sidelines into the game. And then we try to raise as much money as possible to make sure that our party has the resources so that we can invest in all states. Every single district is in play going into 2022, and we have the right message on our side. So we're excited.
Now, Tommy, you have been all over the country in the last couple of weeks. How about some of the places that you have been recently?
Well, just got back from Philadelphia and Buffalo, and was on the West Coast last week. Was in Phoenix and Los Angeles, and everywhere I go, it is very clear that people on the Democrat side even have buyer's remorse about Joe Biden. He is not the friendly, moderate, peacemaking, bipartisan president that he told people he was going to be. He's the most divisive left-wing vessel we've ever seen in the presidency, and he's working hand in hand with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer to try to fundamentally change our country, and the people of our country, our great republic, will not stand for it.
I agree with you. Now, I would like to talk a little bit about the Biden border crisis. If you were to say something to a mainstream media person about the Biden border crisis, they'd be kind of like, what? Because it seems like they're acting as if it doesn't even exist. Now, we in the heartland, Daryl and I know all about the border crisis. We've been watching things about it.
Yes.
And we're kind of curious about why neither Biden nor Vice President Kamala Harris have even hardly acknowledged it. And she hasn't been down there, and she was named the czar, essentially, for the border crisis.
Well, it is a crisis. You're seeing hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people, including children, captured at the border and put into detention centers every month. And I've seen some estimates that as many as 2 million people will be apprehended this year. Now, compare that with the population of North Dakota. That's 780,000 people.
Right.
That puts it into a comparison that should open your eyes.
Right.
It's shocking. And they do hide it from the American people. The media is complicit in this, and they should be embarrassed about it. It is a crisis. It's a humanitarian disaster. And as a Texan, I know people who deal with this every day. And
Sure.
it's a tragedy to see what's happening in South Texas, in Arizona, and in California. These are human beings that are being discarded.
No, I absolutely agree with you. The videos that I've seen are horrendous of
horrible.
coyotes taking little children and just dropping them over the top of the wall. And how can you ignore that video and just act like it's not even happening?
Well,
You can't. You can't. And the cartels are loving this because they overwhelm our border security agents. And then the cartels just sit and wait until they're busy processing the paperwork, and then they send drugs across our border. And in Texas, we've had to use state resources to augment our federal agents. And they've seized hundreds and thousands of dollars worth of drugs and illegal weapons that have been smuggled across the border. We've seen people from the Middle East, potential terrorists. It's crazy, and it's very dangerous.
Yeah, it is. It's really disturbing to me. Some statistics. In April, the highest one-month total in 20 years of illegals caught at the southern border. The latest data from U.S. Census and Border Protection reaffirms that it is worsening under his watch. In April, 178,622 illegal migrants were caught trying to cross the southern border. That is the highest one-month total in 20 years, as I said. It's just, it's frightening. And the humanitarian crisis is one thing, but the children is the part that gets me. I've seen video of 5 little girls sitting next to a truck, and they were just out there wandering on their own. This is just, it's tremendously dangerous for these young children who are just being pushed out, even by their parents, which must be horribly difficult as well.
It is. And, you know, every single one of us who care about human beings and people should be appalled at this, and it's a crisis of Joe Biden's own making. He's sent the wrong signals. They've ignored all the policies that were put in place under President Trump and Republican leadership that were working. And so this is absolutely Joe Biden's and Kamala Harris's issue. They own this.
Yep, they do. I absolutely agree with you. And this is a crisis. Don't fool yourself that this is not a crisis. This is definitely a crisis. Now, Biden has refused to visit the border, and I'm kind of wondering what the plan is here. Is it just, okay, if we just pretend that it doesn't exist, maybe it'll go away, and the press is complicit in this. But then in March, he passed the buck to his vice president, Kamala Harris, and he kind of anointed her the border czar, the immigration czar. And problem is that, you know, she has not, since March.
She's done nothing.
It is almost June, and Harris still hasn't visited the border either, and has apparently no plans to do so as well. I mean, I haven't heard any plans. Have you heard any plans?
Well, she hasn't visited the border. She hasn't had a press conference. She laughs awkwardly when anybody in the media dares to confront her about this border crisis. And, you know, again, the media, the mainstream media, quote unquote, mainstream media is totally complicit in this conspiracy to hide a tragedy and a crisis that's affecting human beings and the American people. This number of people surging into our country illegally is a shocking number, and we've got to make sure that we hold this administration accountable. All they need to do is follow the law, and they are not doing that.
No, that is exactly right. I think the contrast between Trump's border policy And Biden's is very stark and very obvious. And I do believe that also there are many, many Democrats who are very unhappy with the border crisis as well. Am I incorrect on that one?
No, and Henry Cuellar from Texas has been very vocal about this. This is not a Republican or Democrat issue. This is a humanitarian issue. This is why the American people in such great numbers are embracing the America First policy. We've got to have secure borders. We have to invest in the American people. We have to keep our people safe. We need border security, law enforcement. We have homeless people all over the country right now. We have to be taking care of our people first, and not letting millions of people in illegally into our country, which is stressing communities all over the country.
Yeah, you know, I was thinking also, too, these people are not being tested. I mean, they were so adamant in the Biden administration about making sure that everyone was tested and make sure, that, we are not bringing COVID in. And there's none of that going on here, too. What a hypocritical thing.
Well, it's Tommy. I get the pleasure of representing farmers and ranchers in North Dakota as president of North Dakota Farm Bureau, and right now the border states down there, you got New Mexico and Texas and Arizona and California. They're begging for help because the safety of farmers and ranchers along that border are in jeopardy, and they were safe for 4 years under President Trump. Because President Trump knew the reality of the local impact of just a flush of people coming across that border.
No, and the smugglers lie to the people they're smuggling across the border. They say, okay, Houston's right over the hill. It's 7 miles that way. And in the meantime, you've got 100-degree weather. They don't have water. They don't have food. These people are smuggling people so they can overwhelm the border patrol and then send drugs in unopposed, drugs and weapons and terrorists. And it's tragic. I talked to a woman today who's a friend of mine who has a ranch in South Texas. Her friends and neighbors, her family will not let her go around her ranch by herself. She's been in this business for generations, and it's crazy to think about.
Yeah, it's horrible. My folks winter down in the Rio Grande Valley, and they said that the farmers are in danger. They're definitely in danger in that area of the country too. Tommy, if I can hold you over for a quick segment, we will talk to you a little bit about the difference between Republicans and Democrats when we come right back.
Thank you.
You're doing great, but you have a very serious look.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Prairie Patriot Firearms and Training is the region's most complete gun and training center. 5-lane indoor range, a gun shop, and a certified training facility. Firearms training courses are offered daily for new, intermediate, and advanced shooters. If you're not comfortable in a classroom setting, Prairie Patriot offers one-on-one private lessons, from basic self-defense training to concealed weapons testing, along with a full line of guns, ammunition, holsters, and concealment clothing. Prairie Patriot, 3930 Memorial Highway, prairiepatriot.com.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water. the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York to go. We deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck, your after-hours oasis of sanity, as my regular host, Rick Becker, usually says at this time. With me is Darrell Lees, and you are the president of the North Dakota Farm Bureau.
Correct.
And he is co-hosting with me this week in pinch hitting. And with us via Zoom, the one and only Tommy Hicks. And we are so honored to have you on the show tonight. Thank you again for being with us. Now, we're gonna pivot a little bit, Tommy. We're going to talk this time about the opposition, if you will, in the Democratic Party. And I was thinking about it, and it occurred to me that this is not your granddaddy's Democratic Party.
Oh, there's a lot of material here, but John F. Kennedy, this is not his party anymore. He famously stated, ask not what your country can do for you, but what can you do for your country? And this is the most radical Democrat Party we've ever seen, the most radical administration we've ever seen. Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer are the most radical leaders in the House and Senate, and the rest of the members in the Democrat caucus are saluting them and voting with them 99.9% of the time. So when we go into 2022 and we have battleground Senate races where in Georgia or Arizona, people campaigned on being independent thinkers and voting for the people of Arizona. They are not working for the people of Arizona. They are not working for the people of Georgia. They are working for Chuck Schumer. They're working for Nancy Pelosi. And, I think that's why we're going to have a massive reckoning in 2022.
I would agree with you, too. I think it's going to be a very positive thing. I think we're going to take a bunch of House's seats particularly, too. Now, the ideology, they've been moving so far to the left. I mean, as you go, they've been moving and being dragged over toward the left. But the ideology of the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's and Rashida Tlaib's and Ayanna Presley's and and Ilhan Omar's, they are so far out there that it's hard to imagine that Democrats of their ilk even respect our country. It seems like they don't love America, Tommy.
You're absolutely right, and they don't love our allies. They don't love our allies in Israel, who were under attack by Hamas last week and the week before, and Joe Biden is praising them for their leadership and how they fight. They are so far out of the mainstream right now, but the good news is the American people are smart. We're paying attention. We're registering voters. There is a lot of enthusiasm out there, and people, I mean, again, going back to buyer's remorse, there's a lot of that out there. Joe Biden is not the moderate that he ran to be. And we all know how radical Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer are, and they're gonna pay the ultimate price at the ballot box.
I think you're exactly right too. And it was a tectonic, huge shift going from Trump to Biden. I don't know about you, but I had a little whiplash there.
There's an abrupt spin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and President Trump and Republicans got results. He campaigned on making America great again. Everything was going absolutely great. The economy is thriving. We had secure borders. There's peace in the Middle East. We had a virus that we need to get down. We need to figure out exactly how that happened. While you're thinking about setting up commissions, Mr. Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, why don't you think about doing a commission to study the origins of the virus? But the virus did happen, and they changed voting rules in midstream, and we have what we have right now. But that does not mean that for 1 second, we're not going to be fighting as Republicans to make sure we have election integrity and we have the infrastructure in place so that our candidates who stand for America first, individual liberty, religious freedom, and prosperity, have the opportunity to win and represent their constituents for a better America.
That is so true. Now, the racial justice stuff is what's so amazing to me. They're pushing critical race 30 and the 1619 Project and diversity at every possible turn. We just did a segment a moment ago, too, Tommy, before you were on the fact that they are, saying have your BLM banners up at embassies across. And you can't imagine in the heartland how we feel about that. That is like the ultimate. And they did that right before Memorial Day, too.
Right before Memorial Day.
Like literally right before Memorial Day. So we're having a hard time with that. I think the biggest change, personally, that has occurred is with the economy. Now, you look at how Democrats have absolutely swung the economy in a very, very rotten direction to the point where people all over of every economic status are hurting right now. Food prices, gasoline prices, just the day-to-day stuff of just filling your car and going and getting groceries is horrific right now under the Biden administration.
Well, these failed policies hurt the American people, and rising food prices and rising gasoline prices are the ultimate tax on the middle class and on small business, and that's the heartbeat of the American economy. But going even further than that, to show how out of touch the Biden administration Democrats are, on day one of his administration, he killed the Keystone Pipeline, and just a couple days ago, they decided to withdraw sanctions on Russians so that they can build a pipeline directly supporting Germany's gas consumption. Now, what does this show you? This shows you that they care more about the Russians than they do about the American people. And this is the exact same thing when we talk about America first, that the American people are sick and tired of. We have to keep focusing on the American people, making sure we have an economy that works, where middle-class people can have higher earnings, lower cost of living, they're not getting taxed at the gas pump, and they can live their lives without stress.
No, I concur. And we are a very oil-rich state. We are a very big energy state. I think we're right behind Texas, I think.
Yeah, we're number 2 to Texas.
We're number 2 to Texas, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so
long way to go.
Well, we actually are very pleased because with the DAPL pipeline, it was just ruled by a judge that can stay pumping gas at this point. So we are very, very excited about that.
I want to see the numbers, though, Tommy, on a per square mile basis where we rank then.
Right. Right.
It's a healthy competition, but it's a good thing, and it helps the American people. And I love the people of Texas and North Dakota because the oil and gas business is the ultimate free market experiment.
It is. And we were energy independent right before Biden started. And it is so aggravating now to realize that those days are over again. It's very frustrating.
Yeah, and the Green New Deal that the Democrats are behind is truly a Red New Deal because it allows China to surpass us economically, and we cannot allow that to happen. I mean, they will not be enforcing any of these standards on China or India for many, many years, decades, as a matter of fact, and it's going to put the people in Texas, North Dakota, Pennsylvania in a tougher economic position, but it's also going to raise prices for people all across the United States, for energy, for plastics, for food, for everything that we need as an economy. The oil and gas is more important than just filling your car with everything we do, as you guys know, as well as anybody, is refined through petroleum. And it's the most important product that we could be focused on right now, and we shouldn't have government interference with that.
Now, no question that you're preaching to the choir here in North Dakota because we are very aware of the importance of petroleum.
And you know, Tommy, the thing is in North Dakota here, a lot of people don't understand the dynamics of the Democrat Party at a national level because the Democrat Party is fairly non-existent in North Dakota. And so, but part of the reason is because the national politics has gotten so extreme that people with sanity can't possibly follow that.
Well, yeah, and by the way, people do not trust the national news. They don't trust the quote-unquote mainstream media. That's why you guys are so popular. But we want to encourage people to get involved, whether you're in North Dakota, Minnesota, get involved at a local and state level. We have to get good people involved. You can't assume that your friends and your neighbors are going to go step in and do it. And Lori, actually both you and Daryl are doing it. You're doing something about it. You're serving right now. You're doing a great job of making our country and your state a better place. We need to encourage more and more people to get involved, run for office, get off the sidelines, get into the game.
Share their voice.
Yep.
It's the best thing you can do.
That's all true. We've got a really wonderful grassroots movement going on in North Dakota right now. A lot of people stepping up. I think with the results of the election in 2020, it was a real big motivator for people in North Dakota. They're like, all right, if not me, then who? I better get involved. So I hope that happens and catches fire throughout the United States, and we have an amazing 2022 because everybody's like, all right, I'm having enough of this. I'm going to get involved and do some work.
Amen.
Amen. Well, thank you very, very much for being on with us tonight. I can't tell you how grateful I am. You can tell I'm thrilled.
It's been fun. I mean, it's been great.
It is really fun. And we will hopefully have you on again sometime in the future. Safe travels to you. I know you have a lot of traveling ahead of you. I hope you have a wonderful Memorial weekend, a blessed holiday, and we will talk again soon.
You do too, and let's do it again.
All right.
Make your way to North Dakota and visit with the Patriots up north.
That's an invitation. You need to come visit. All right.
We're in.
All right. All right. When we come back, we will shift gears once again, and we will talk a little bit about 30 by 30.
We're the ladies of Another View, bringing you a fresh view on local issues.
And different perspectives you won't get on the mainstream media. Watch us weekday afternoons at 4:30 Central Time on Beck News and at beck.news.
When you're buying windows, make sure you're comparing apples to apples. Hi, I'm Jesse with the Window Source. We only sell you the best windows and doors for the best price. Call the Window Source. Just because you pay less doesn't mean you get less.
If you don't know what's going on in education in this country, then you don't know what's going to happen in the future of this country. And it's important. I'm Dr. Duke.
And I'm Katie.
Watch the Dr. Duke Show weekdays at 4 p.m. Central Time on Beck TV.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature Heroes, with the region's only Hero meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm gonna pass the savings directly on to you. Go to MyPillow.com right now to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. For example, you can get my premium MyPillows, regularly $69.98, now just $29.98, the lowest price ever.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck. I am Lori Hins, with me Daryl Lease, and we've had such a fun night tonight already with Tommy Hicks. That was a thrill, and he was fantastic and great information, and he was so kind about North Dakota too, which I
Absolutely.
I kind of dig that. So we're going to switch gears a little bit, and we're going to talk about 30 by 30. Now, it was mentioned actually in a previous show, and it was mentioned because we were going through the executive orders. You know, we have gone through, Rick and I have gone through ad nauseum 50 plus executive orders of Biden. This particular day was day 8 of his signing executive orders, and it was January 27, 2021 that Biden released this executive order on tackling the climate crisis at home and abroad. Now, in this particular document, America's farmers, ranchers, and forest landowners have an important role to play in combating the climate crisis, it says, and reducing greenhouse gas emissions by sequestering carbon in soils, grasses, trees, and other vegetation, and sourcing sustainable bioproducts and fuels. Would you like to comment on that?
We're already doing that.
Exactly what I was thinking myself too. Carbon dioxide is plant food. Farmers, ranchers, and foresters already grow plants which sequester carbon, so
and produce oxygen,
it's
by the
already
way.
done, so I don't know what they're talking about here. Anyway, they do not know what they are talking about here, as always. So in Section 215 then, that was in Section 214, in Section 215 of this executive order on tackling the climate crisis at home and abroad, it says, in furtherance of the policy set forth in Section 214, they are putting together a task force within 90 days of the date of this order for creating a civilian climate corps, CORPS, core initiative within existing appropriations to mobilize the next generation of conservation and resilience workers. That's a very big word in all of the executive orders, is resilience.
Resilience, yes.
And equity, and anyway, and maximize the creation of accessible training opportunities and good jobs. Now, they seem to have the same solution to every problem, and that is taking money away from productive people and giving it to people who are unproductive, and for their government
That's proven to work well
jobs,
over decades.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, then we get to Section 216, and this is where 30 by 30 shows up. So it says, the Secretary of the Interior, in consultation with the Secretary of Agriculture, the Secretary of Commerce, the Chair of the Council on Environmental Quality, and the heads of other relevant agencies shall submit a report to the task force within 90 days of the date of this order, recommending steps that the United States should take working with state, local, tribal, and territorial governments, agricultural and forest landowners, fishermen, and other key stakeholders to achieve the goal of conserving at least 30% of our lands and waters by 2030. So to achieve the goal of conserving at least 30% of our lands and waters by 2030. Now, fun fact, my notes here say the federal government owns 28% of the land in the U.S. already. And the states own a lot more. So is that land not conserved already, Daryl?
No, so their definition of conserve, they only feel that 12% is actually, well, they're not worried about conservation. Let's be honest about it.
Yep.
They're worried about preservation. Non-use, no intrusion from humans, so they only consider that there's 12% out there. So that means they're going for 18% more in 8.5 years.
This is a land grab.
This is a huge land grab. The thing that also doesn't get mentioned, but has been verified when questioned, is the use of the Antiquities Act. And if people aren't familiar with the Antiquities Act is what the president can do with a pen without any lawsuits undoing it by creating national monuments with the stroke of a pen by any land already owned by the federal government.
Oh, my heavens.
And it's been told from the White House, from White House staff, that yes, the Antiquities Act, along with every other tool in the toolbox, will be utilized for this.
It's frightening. I'm from the government, and I'm here to help. I'm here to conserve your land. I will just take care of it. Yeah.
When something goes into a national monument, there is zero use.
Right.
And we'll cover this a little bit more tomorrow night, but there's no grazing for livestock. There's no access with a motored vehicle.
Wow.
And so, people think of a monument as, a little sign this size. No.
No.
National monuments can be acreages, and that's what they're going to go for. And it's a land grab because then they control the land around it too.
Well, the interesting thing about that is, you know, they're going to take this land, and what is their plan in the future for it? I mean, forgive me if I'm a little skeptical, but it seems like in every possible tyrannical government ever, the goal was to completely take as much land as possible to control everything.
Well, and let's look one step further. Is these things right here? Okay.
Right.
They have metals that we need, precious metals. They have metals that rare earth minerals that you need for this and other things.
Mm-hmm.
If a national monument is done, restricts all the ability to mine, and there's a targeted area through Colorado that has many of those minerals, rare earth minerals available, that's in the target zone on this thing.
Wow.
It's not a good issue.
It is not a good issue. Now, the good news is that we are going to be able to talk about this with a true expert and somebody who's probably very, very well versed on 30 by 30 tomorrow on the program, and we'll tease you a little bit with that. But he's bringing friends. So, all right, when we come back, we will touch on another subject. This time we are going to talk about movies, and we're going to talk about Hollywood when we come back.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Spas, etc. Yeah. You've come to know and trust us for over 18 years with the largest selection and showroom in Western North Dakota for our beautiful Sundance spas. Plus, you can pick out your next home experience with our selection of pool tables, shuffleboards, and fun accessories.
Spas, etc. Your relaxation destination on Main and Bismarck.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to pull them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
You did it. You made it to number 5. We've got segment number 5 here. Thanks so much for staying with us tonight here on No Apologies with Beck.
They survived.
Yes, it's been a fun night. We've got lots of great topics tonight. And our final topic this evening is we're going to talk a little bit about movies and Hollywood and theaters in particular, the brick and mortar stuff with the movies too. So Hollywood is apparently begging people to come back to theaters. COVID changed a great deal of our lifestyle, and because of that, a lot of people are no longer going to movies, me included, and maybe you're the same way. So now Hollywood is like, okay, we're getting back to work. We need people to actually come to these movies that we are doing. So the question is, will people go back? Let's start with a news story that I found on the Daily Wire, and it says, at the Big Screen is Back initiative on Wednesday, the 19th of May, Arnold Schwarzenegger and J.J. Abrams joined fellow filmmakers and Hollywood studio executives in an effort to motivate a return to the theater-going lifestyle. Now, they are trying to get people excited about going back to the movies, and it sounds to me like it's not really working very well, Daryl.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends that we never went to a lot of movies. We'd go to a couple a year. I got a lot of friends that used to go to movies all the time. That was their outing. Some of them bought campers.
What a great idea.
Do you think they're going to go to a movie when they have a camper and can go to the lake and they've got probably a spot rented for the summer?
That's so interesting. That's a great idea.
I think habits were forced to change.
Right.
And so therefore to get them back, and so the excitement has left.
No, there's no question. I would agree with that. The other thing that's interesting to me is that they are trying to incentivize people to go to movies, and their incentives are weird. All right, I found this other story. This was from LA Mag, or Los Angeles Magazine, and it says Cinemark is touting the new Cinemark standard when it comes to cleaning procedures and an increased fresh air rate for its HVAC system. And I saw that and I'm thinking, how could that even be an incentive? That is not.
That sounds like a reason not to go,
right?
Because they're telling you you're probably going to get sick if you come here.
And then this next one says, while AMC offered 15-cent tickets on its initial U.S. relaunch day last August, well, that was in August, it's now back to regular pricing, though you can still get this. You can rent out one of the company's auditoriums for a private screening for just $99. Seriously, think about that. That tells me somebody is in the hurt bag. If you are willing to let the whole theater be rented out by one person for under $100, this tells me there are grave problems with theaters.
Well, they're wanting people in the seats just so they can sell them popcorn and pop, and and which, don't get me wrong, for the independent owners out there,
yes,
they're hurting. They're hurting.
Yep.
But Hollywood helped play up the fear.
That is very true.
And so
they're also the first ones on the vaccine commercials as well.
Right, but I mean, so they just continue to push the divisiveness in this issue.
Yep.
And people are they're fed up with it. They're not going to patronize someone that's pushing the divisiveness of an issue. People's attitudes changed during COVID.
They did.
And not all of them changed for the worse. Some of them had a realization happen that it's time to take a stand, and some of them are going to pay the price for that stand.
That's very true. Let's show another graphic here. This one is from another one. This is a Variety article, and this says, in the past 12 months, there were more release date changes than there were actual movies being released, as studios pushed back their biggest titles in hopes of outrunning the coronavirus. And then this last one here says, with theaters still struggling to draw crowds and studios turning to digital platforms to bolster numbers, this summer will be the ultimate test of the long-term sustainability of those decisions. This was a movie critic, a movie pundit who was talking about that in that one as well. So in my mind, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, what would incentivize me to go back to movies? Because I don't know about you, but I actually left sports. I walked away from sports about 2 years ago. They left me with their wokeness, and so I left them, and I have never looked back. And I was a big sports fanatic at that time. Hollywood has never been my favorite. I don't know about you, but they have never been my favorite,
Right.
and I'm honestly not interested. I am just not interested in giving Hollywood my hard-earned money any longer. I have to admit, I did go see The Courier with my friend Laura last month when I was in Dallas, and it was a pouring rain day. I'm like, what are we gonna do in pouring rain? So we went to a big multiplex and went to the movie, and it was all masky there. It totally diminished the experience for me. They sucked all the joy out of the movie for me by making me wear a face diaper. I was not happy.
Just go buy the popcorn.
You know,
'Cause the popcorn is still the best.
I did. I ate as much as I possibly could. But for now, there really isn't anything that really piques my interest about going to the movies, unfortunately. And I love our local theater people here in town.
Right.
But honestly, the whole masky thing and the distancing, I'm over it. So.
Well, and so people are hosting neighbors to come over and watch and enjoy in their comfort of their own home on their big screen.
I love that idea.
it's-
You know, maybe
'cause
a
you can
little more
stream 'em all,
gathering
so
and a
why
little
not
less.
do it that way?
That's a great idea, Daryl. And you know, I think you're exactly right. People are changing their attitudes. They're buying campers. They're doing things they're just not doing. It'll be really interesting to see how Hollywood reinvents itself
Right.
and what platforms they come up with and ways that they are pushing their movies out, because they're going to have to change if people just do not get their butts in those seats.
It's going to be different.
It will be different. All right, join us next time, because this next program that we're going to have tomorrow night is going to be so great. I'm very, very excited about this. So I've been having some interesting Zoom people on, but he's got a friend who's coming on our Zoom program tomorrow.
Yeah, President of American Farm Bureau Federation, Zippy Duvall, will join us for a couple segments, and we'll talk about private property, 30 by 30, and other issues in agriculture.
You are not going to want to miss it. Yeah, his name really is Zippy.
It is, Zippy Duvall.
All right, join us next time on No Apologies with Beck. We'll see you soon.